It is season 4 of Joy on the Journey podcast. Can you believe it? And do things look a little different? Well, that is because for this season, God has provided increase. And that is also due to your support and because you have shared the podcast, liked the podcast, and subscribed to the channel. So let me ask you, if those 3 things don't apply to you, could you help a sister out? Yes, thank you. I'm Ashley White, the host of Joy on the Journey podcast, a weekly podcast all about defining, finding, and maintaining joy on the journey of life. This weekly podcast interviews women that have been an inspiration to my life. And this week, y'all, super blessed to have my soror and graduate of Prairie View A&M University, Miss Danielle Johnson. She is a seasoned, and at this point we can call ourselves seasoned because we have more than 20 years.
Yeah.
We have more than 20 years of federal experience. And so she also works alongside me at NASA, but most importantly, she has some careers out and interests outside of STEM. Danielle hosts meditation series teaching stress relieving techniques to colleagues and interns. She is also a Reiki master and breathwork practitioner. She is passionate about alternative healing methods and finds joy in reading books on spiritual development and self-improvement. Y'all, welcome Danielle to the podcast.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
Absolutely. So sis, as I mentioned, this podcast is all about joy.
Yes.
Defining joy, finding
Absolutely.
joy, and maintaining it on the journey of life. We start every single podcast asking guests the same question. How do you define joy?
Okay, well, I define joy as an intentional choice to allow experiences with people, places, things that allow your heart to expand. That's my definition of joy.
Allow your heart to expand, but
Yes.
intentionally.
Absolutely, because to me, joy and creating joy is a process that is always ongoing, meaning I'm always checking in with myself. Is this bringing me joy? Yes or no? And then choosing how to then navigate my day according to that.
When did you get to that point of discovery, of awareness, that not only do you need to choose it, but that you have to check in with yourself of, is this really joy or is this just a habitual thing that I'm doing?
Yeah, so it's been a process. I've been studying what I would consider alternative methods of healing since 2011. And so as I'm going through my process and my journey about, learning different methods of healing, joy comes to the surface, and being intentional also comes to the surface. And so for me, it's just been a process of learning how to then create joy in my life intentionally, moment by moment, not just every day, in every moment. Like I'm creating joy right now with you, girl. Okay? Yes.
And I'm so grateful that you have considered joy as a intentional act. One thing y'all gotta know about Danielle, she's a super soror. I remember
Oh, goodness.
on the campus of Prairie View A&M University, Danielle was one of those deltas that you just watched. You knew they were about their business.
Thank
And
you.
it took a long time for me to actually become a member, but those moments, watching y'all on the yard and the leadership experiences and Even Danielle was one of the first people to welcome me at NASA when I started,
Yeah.
being like, okay, you're here too. Okay. Tell me
Yes.
what to do, what not to do, who to talk to, who not to talk to, all those things. And so I want to thank you always for
Oh,
extending
thank you for
so
that.
much wisdom,
Mm.
sisterhood, friendship.
Mm-hmm.
I got a paddle that used to be in here, but then we, had to recreate things. But it's going to go up again that she
Yeah.
gave me as my
Oh,
crossing
yeah.
gift. So I just want
Mm-hmm.
to thank you.
Absolutely.
I want to talk, let's get into your journey.
Okay.
I mentioned earlier that while she has a background in engineering and she
Mm-hmm.
loves what she's able to do to contribute to NASA's mission, this won't really be a STEM heavy conversation. If we have time, we may jump into her experience working with Nesby. She's a leader there, y'all too, okay? But let's talk about Reiki. You are
Mm-hmm.
a certified Reiki master.
Correct.
What does that mean?
Okay, so actually, I'm a certified Reiki master in two traditions. The first one is the Usui Holy Fire tradition, and then the second is Kundalini. So that process of becoming a master takes time, of course, and education and training to learn how to be in tune with your energy field. So, Reiki is a stress reduction technique that gives people the opportunity to really just tap into their energy field and their energy centers or their chakras. It gives you the opportunity to balance your chakras. As a practitioner, I am able to determine if your chakras are underactive or overactive, and how then to use the hands, because Reiki is a manual technique, how to use the hands to allow that energy to flow through me coming from source, right? And then helping to balance the energy field. And of course, chakras are the energy centers that are in your body. Most people know about 7 main chakras, but there are so many more chakras in the body. So it's really about balancing those energy centers.
And when did you become interested in that there were so many things internally that needed healing or and that could be healed naturally?
Yeah, so that's an excellent question. What started my journey was really I had two aunts, one on my maternal side and one on my paternal side, that were very, very instrumental in my life, and they were both sick with cancer. And the question that I asked myself was, there's conventional medicine, and by all means, I am a user of conventional medicine when I need to. But I asked myself, is there something else out there that can help people? That was the first question. And that started me on a journey of doing some research and finding more about Eastern medicine. And Reiki, of course, is a Japanese based healing art. And so I began that process of looking into what I would call alternative methods of healing. I'm also a certified crystal practitioner and healer. So there's so many different things, breath work, of course, that I've learned over the years to support. My initial question is, are there other things out there that can help heal, especially my community, I would say BIPOC, Black, Indigenous, people of color community, and those are the populations in which I am choosing to serve.
Thank you so much for sharing. I want to ask, how does one become a master? I know you mentioned it's taken a couple years, but what's that process look like?
Okay, sure. So for Reiki specifically, let's see, there's Reiki level 1, and then there's Reiki level 2, and then there's Reiki mastership. So to become a master really the courses are instructor led. It takes about a week per class. Per level. And then really you have to practice in between each level. And so once you become a master, you're able to teach Reiki. So you're able to learn Reiki as level 1 and become a practitioner at level 1. But as a master, I'm able to then teach other people how to become Reiki practitioners.
Thank you so much
And
for
that
sharing.
process took from level 1 to level 2 took 3 years for me.
Wow, 3 years.
Yeah.
And so over the course of that 3 year span, How did you remain engaged? Because I know learning something new, it's easy to be like, this is not really what the instructor said it was going to be. This is a whole lot harder. I can imagine. How did you continue to move forward?
Yeah, so also an interesting question because of my engineering background, I'm extremely analytical. And so I'm like, am I checking the box? Am I checking the box? Am I doing it right? But with healing art, it's a feeling. It's an embodiment. And that, of course, takes time. So that was my journey started back in 2011 and we fast forward into now. So it's been some years in which I've gotten to practice. So that process is about me practicing and I stay engaged through my practices. My family has been supportive. I call them, they're my guinea pigs. So I work with them a lot and I'm grateful for them, my family, my friends that have supported me. But yeah, it's a process. Mm-hmm.
I want to talk about your family and doing things that are not conventional.
Okay.
I am sure, or let me just ask, have you felt pushback or have you experienced pushback as you've been on this journey?
Yeah, so really the support that I've gotten from my family has been overwhelming and positive on all fronts. However, the negative self-talk comes from me, not from other people. And again, just being on this journey and becoming more self-aware, I have these little, thoughts that come up and say, oh, you're going to hell and, all this other kind of stuff, which is totally not true. And so I had to really become more centered and focused and really just leaning into the truth and knowing that this is all from God. Mm-hmm. It just looks different. Mm-hmm. And so celebrating what different looks like, and my family has been overwhelmingly supportive. I just have to let that negative self-talk that pops in sometimes and just tell it to just be quiet. You don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, I love that. Mm-hmm. Thank you so much for highlighting the importance of self-talk.
Yes.
Because sometimes we can put that on other people, where you're not supportive and you're not this exactly. And you're not that, when really the issue is internally, I don't really believe I can do this. So you say you don't think I can do it, you right.
Yeah. And so I mean, to piggyback off on that, like this is my first podcast, and we've talked about this, but one thing is because of that negative self-talk, and again, I tell everybody, this is a process and I'm in it, I haven't really told people what I do. Just because that, oh my God, what are people going to say? They're going to think I'm crazy, all these things. And so I am finally coming out of that shell and sharing the gifts that God has given me, exposed me to, and allowed me to share it with other people. So I'm grateful that, again, everything is divine and everything is divinely timed. And this podcast today is absolutely perfect timing for my journey and what I'm moving through. So thank you for supporting me and getting the word out about what I do and who I am.
Absolutely. It's my pleasure. Now, y'all, I told y'all from the very beginning, I stalk my guests. So it doesn't matter how many years I've known them, I still stalk my guests. And so when we were talking about breath work, because she's a breath work practitioner, I started doing some Googling. And according to Dr. Google, each day we take some 20,000 breaths. Yes. Mm-hmm. Most of the time it's unconscious, right? Like we have breathed, God thank you, so many times. But many, I'm sure, have never heard of breath work. Mm-hmm. What is it?
Good. I love this. So breath work is what I'm most passionate about right now. I'm so excited. So breath work is, there's so many different types of breath work. So the modality that I learned is conscious connected breath work. So conscious meaning I am consciously thinking about, how I'm breathing, and I consciously put forth that work to do the breath work. So you just talked about the 20,000 breaths. Well, that's unconscious. We're just always breathing. But if I'm asking you to, hold a count of 4, that's conscious because we are actually doing that work consciously first. And then connected means that your inhale and your exhale are connected. And then, of course, the breath. And then the work is, breath work is not a passive activity. It is a active activity. And breath work. So what happens is as you breathe, your body begins to relax. And a lot of people don't know this, but trauma is stored in the body.
Okay.
And so what happens is, I'll just give you an example. Houston is known for its traffic, right? And you see somebody and you just driving and they cut you off and you may say a couple words, and you tense up. Well, okay, and then you just keep driving, but that tension, that emotion is still within, and breath helps you to relax that tension. And so it's one of the things I'm most passionate about, is because what most people don't know is that we store up to 14 generations of trauma within us, in our DNA. Yes. So for people of color or people who have been oppressed, it is absolutely vital to just try breath work. I'm telling you, it has changed my life.
Wow. I did not know that.
Yes.
Wow. So she says she encourages all of us, especially people of color, to try breath work. So would you be open to walking us through a breath work exercise?
Sure. So, the type of breath work that I do, most of the time we're laying on the ground, and there is a entire process that I'd have to educate people and walk them through. But for now, one of my most favorite things to do is just 3 deep cleansing breaths. So easy. I use this in meetings before I personally go into a meeting, just to bring me down out of my head, and also to prepare myself for whatever may come, So just doing 3 deep cleansing breaths is just, like I said, it just helps to, get you started. It helps you to relax and just center yourself. So we're just going to do something just as simple as that. And another thing is, it doesn't have to take a long time. You just got to be consistent with the practice. 3 deep breaths, not too bad. So we're going to do that together.
Okay.
You ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay. So everybody watching, just be present to this moment, and just give yourself permission to be present, to be engaged in this moment, choosing to relax. So what we're going to do is we are going to, on my count, inhale through the nose for 4 counts. We're going to hold it for 4 counts, and then exhale for 4 counts. Okay, ready? We're going to inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then exhale. Again, inhale, hold it. 1, 2, 3, 4, exhale. And one more time, just because. Big inhale through the nose. Hold it. And exhale. So I would just say in this moment, notice how you feel. Notice that, even in my voice has changed, right? It just helps to relax you, and your body your cells get to tingling because you're oxygenating your body. A lot of times as we're moving around, we can just be so tense. So when you're ready, you can open your eyes and just be present to this moment. Again, 3 simple breaths can help to shift whatever anxiety, fear that you might be feeling in any moment.
Wow, thank you so much. I felt my spine kind of elongating with each deep breath.
Okay.
Because I think I posted this morning. This is my first time recording in 6 months. And I was nervous. I woke up this morning. I was like, okay, is everything working? How do I do? I don't remember. How do I open? Oh my God, what do I say? And so I knew I was feeling tension. But thank you for this opportunity to release and be centered in this moment. Not thinking about what happens next, not thinking about the next question, but being present in
Yes.
this moment.
Absolutely. And I would just say that that technique is called a box breath. So you inhale for 4 counts, hold for 4 counts, exhale for 4 counts, and then you hold for another 4 counts, and then you start over, which is what we did. So you can use that anytime you want to Google schmoogle. If you need to get the, exact steps, you can Google it. But it's a box breath, very simple, 4 counts, and everybody can do it.
Wow. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. She is also, if she's not, a master of this and master of that, she is also an avid traveler. In fact, I'm surprised she's here in person because sis be on the plane
Yes.
somewhere and everywhere, domestic, international. So, what has been your favorite place that has brought you joy?
Oh, there's so many. Um, mm, I would say the last place that I went internationally was Costa Rica.
Okay.
Oof, I love me some Costa Rica. The people, the scenery. So what brings me joy is visiting new places. I really love that. And also, over time, I've learned how to become a solo traveler, which I absolutely love because as I've been going through my journey of joy, well, sometimes people are like, I can't go, my coins may be a little light. And so I would just be like, well, okay, well, I'm not going to go because I'm in my head about it. I can't go by myself. And then one day I was like, well, why can't I go by myself? Again, those questions, those thought-provoking questions. Well, why can't I go by myself? And so I would travel all the time for work, but like leisure travel, the first time I did that was to Jamaica, probably in like maybe 2015. And ever since then, I've been traveling solo and I absolutely love it.
Yeah.
Absolutely love
I
it.
don't know if I've ever shared this with you.
Okay.
You were the inspiration behind my solo trip last year.
Really?
Yeah, I would watch Danielle because one of the things she does, and it's probably safe, you probably should do what she does, and that's post when you get back.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't do that though. That part I didn't learn, but she would come back and she would post all these beautiful pictures of her on a beach or her doing whatever she wanted to do on her own time by herself. And I was like, "What you mean? You went by yourself? That's a possibility."
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes you don't know, and this is why I think it's so important that people live out loud.
Yes.
Because you don't know what your testimony, how your journey can bless somebody else.
Yeah.
So because you were so public about your solo travel and that it was safe and you were still doing things that, were secure and you were going to places that we got a good relationship with. So if she went somewhere, she can get back.
Right.
That's important too.
Yes.
But that it took such courage, right, to step out of the mode instead of waiting on folks to get their stuff together or, timing to work out. Because as we get older, getting on people's calendar is a whole nother adventure.
What? Yes.
And so I was so inspired and encouraged that led to my solo trip last year to Mexico, where I was really able to dive deeply into processing the last year, processing grief and processing how the journey, like it's one thing to talk to other people about their own, but then to be reflective of what my year had looked like. So I want to publicly thank you for that.
Thank you
as
so
well.
much. Like people tell me that all the time. And so traveling is one thing, but to talk about like to me, traveling, I'm like, oh, I do it all the time, but alternative work and to talk about that has been difficult to live out loud in that way. So thank you for even saying that because I'm like, okay, I can do this in really every aspect of my life because I know that I'm here on earth to serve others. And in order to do that, I have a testimony, I have a story, and I feel compelled to through you and because of you, because of this podcast and in this moment, I feel compelled to share that. So just Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
So we can't let her go without talking about STEM. She is very, very
Okay.
passionate about increasing the numbers of African American and specifically African American women in the STEM fields. And if you don't know what STEM is, that's science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Can you share a bit of the importance of getting girls, and specifically people of color, into the STEM fields early?
Ooh, yes, absolutely. So I can speak to my journey. I was always good in math and science, and I'm grateful for my parents for recognizing that and putting me in science camps and engineering camps. And I was resistant.
Okay.
But I had so much fun. Like we like built robots and, just had all these really cool experiences early on. So I would say like my first camp was probably in like the sixth grade.
Oh.
And so just over the summers and every summer, my mom would make sure that we were engaged. And so, yeah, I would say it's super important to get children involved in STEM early as possible. And, at NASA, we have K through 12 programs, of course. And so you can go online and check those out to support people who are on their, kids who are interested in STEM. But it's so vital to get that interest and that engagement early, and allow it to continue to build and foster, those gifts that the students have and their interests.
Thank you so much. I had to throw that in there because I know this will be seen by a lot of people with various interests, but I want to make sure that she's able to speak to everything that she's passionate about. And hopefully, we were able to just tap the surface into everything that God is doing with you and through you. The final segment, and I know time has flown by. I know. But if you need a part two, just all you gotta do is let me know. We'll try to tack her down and get her back on the podcast.
Yes, anytime.
The final section is your journey ahead.
Okay.
So, as you are carefully considering and bringing everything into right alignment, what do you envision your hope for yourself over the next 5 years?
Ooh. So, in my meditation, I had to think about this question. Because it's always good to have a vision, but sometimes I can be like so right in front of myself that I don't look forward. And what really resonated for me is to combine my love of travel and my love of breath work. So what I hope to do in 5 years, let me say that again. What I will be doing in
That's
5
important.
years. Hope it is different from
That's
will.
good.
Okay. So what I will be doing in 5 years is taking women of color on international retreats, where we're going to do breath work together. The vision that I have is to go to different continents where there's water. I love being around water because I think water's so healing. But taking women of color on these retreats and breathing and really having like sister circles and supporting each other as we breathe through life and the things that life has brought us. And also a space of clearing, but a space of celebration. And all this is just coming as I'm talking. So thank you, God. Thank you, Spirit. So yeah, that's my vision. So I will be doing that in 5 years.
That's
and
it.
I'm excited about bringing this modality to people of color and in my community, because that's really what I start with. And so thank you again.
Absolutely. If someone wanted to get in touch with you that had questions about Reiki, that had questions about where do I even get started on breath work, especially because you have a shirt on that says Breathe Queen.
Yeah.
How can they get in touch with you?
Okay, that's a good question. So, Breath Queen is the name of my business, in which I am a practitioner of breath work and support people of color through breath work. So, to get in touch with me, I would say the best place would be Instagram. My Instagram handle is just call me Andisa, which is one word. Andisa, by the way, is my spiritual name, which means increase. And you started your segment talking about increase. So I was like, We are so synchronistic today. Increase. My name is Increase. We got the black and white on. That was not intentional.
Not intentional.
Again, just call me on Disa, one word on Instagram. You can hit me up there.
Awesome. So I will be sure to list all of that in the description. Please take advantage. Please, please, please. Let's become from a place of healing, and let's expand our minds to how God can move through various people to help us get to a place of deliverance. So again, please let us know in the comments your greatest takeaway from this episode. How has your mind been shifted? How has your breathing shifted since we did the breath exercise? Do you feel lighter? Do you feel more centered? Do you feel longer? Yes.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely. But until we meet again every single Thursday, may God increase your joy, grant you strength for the journey, and give you the courage to tell your story. Bye.